On today's show, the LA Clippers played their third preseason game, and it ended with a Kai Jones game-winning alley-oop dunk. What were the big takeaways for the Clippers in this one? No Norman Powell, but still some really good things. Looking forward to the Intuit Dome on Monday. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Preseason Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and entering my 20th season as a Clipper fan in about 12 days. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Or I want you to let me know what you thought of the game, the third game of the preseason. This one coming against the Portland Trailblazers, who I think are going to be the worst team in the West this year, respectfully. But there were some good things to take from this game, and I'm going to be talking about them, including my first takeaway, which was James Harden, for me, having his best game of the preseason so far, and then some great things I saw from Terrence Mann and Derrick Jones and Kai Jones. Didn't realize we had two Jones on the team. But anyway, let's get right into it. James Harden. I thought this was his best preseason game thus far. I thought there were the least amount of moments of stagnant offense. I thought he took what the defense gave him. And if teams are going to go underneath the high ball screen on James Harden, that's a pull-up three every single time. He's been used to hitting that his entire career. There were some times in the beginning of the game where I felt he could have turned the corner and tried to attack a little bit harder. And he was a little bit hesitant, I think, thinking that the defender would recover. And the defender would recover, and it led to a couple of turnovers early. He actually had 2 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the game. But then after that, for the most part, he did take care of the ball. Let's see how many turnovers he ended with. 4. So 2 for the rest of the game. Although, remember, he only played the first half. Same with the Zubac. But in this game, James Harden had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, on 5 for 10 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3, and a very rare 1 for 3 from the foul line. That obviously doesn't concern me at all. But 50% from the field and 3 and 5 assists in one half. I mean, that's looking like a 28, 6, and 10 game if you can produce that same line in the second half. That was pretty good. And I like the process. He even took a step back mid-range. So that shot is going to be there for James Harden all year long. And he didn't take it in Houston in his later years there, and I hated it. And he could get away with it somehow in the regular season and in some rounds of the playoffs because he was just that fast, that explosive, that good with the handle, and that good with his three-point shot. But now as an older player, he's going to have to just take what the defense gives, and that mid-range shot is going to be there all season long. So he's going to have to take that and take it with confidence. Now, as far as some other things that happened in that game, well, or should I say in the first half, in terms of James Harden, I thought defensively, not too great, but some really solid stuff in the pick and roll. And it all begins with Harden looking for his own shot. We're going to need an uber-aggressive version of James Harden this year just to stay head above water. He averaged 11 shots a game last season, and that is going to have to go up without Paul George, without Russell Westbrook, and of course, the present situation, which is without Kawhi Leonard for God knows how long. So he's going to have to ramp it up to at least, whether Kawhi plays or not, 15 shots a night, and when Kawhi's not playing, around 20. Now, the thing is that James Harden's one of those guys who likes to take his shots. There are certain shots that he feels very comfortable taking, and he's not going to get out of that comfort zone. His step back 3, his side step 3, his pull-up, I'm sorry, not his pull-up. Doesn't really take pull-up shots except for pull-up threes. His mid-range, he only shoots that step back going to his right. I don't know why I said left earlier. I'm pretty sure it was the step back going to his right. and then he hit it. But he likes to go with the step back there and push off with the off arm. And he's not going to, just randomly stop on a dime or, he usually shoots his side steps going to his right. There are certain shots he's just not going to get out of his comfort zone for. You know what I'm saying? Like James Harden's not going to post up on the right wing and take a turnaround over his left shoulder. That's never going to happen. You're never going to see that. Almost never. I wonder how many. See, that's why I need Synergy. But if I was on Synergy, which is that website where you can track all this stuff, I would be on it way too much. So it's probably better I don't have Synergy. But I would love to see how many turnarounds over his left shoulder on the right side of the court he shot last year. It's not a shot that he shoots very much. So the thing with James is because he's not as quick anymore, it's harder for him to get off those shots at a high percentage. If you just want to ask him to jack threes, I mean, a lot of people can just jack threes. The efficiency will go down. So I think that's the thing. If you wonder, why did James Harden have so few shot attempts in 2023 against the Celtics or in certain playoff games? It's partially because he's not able to get that same separation that he once did so easily. And of course, see, I want to say the league has cracked down on his little foul baiting tactics, but he still gets a lot of the calls, and players around the league still do that stuff. So I don't think we've really done anything about that. But it all begins, the pick and roll stuff, the passing that James is so good at, with him being aggressive to score. I honestly think there are some three-point shooters in this league that teams overestimate when it comes to screen and roll defense. I think there are some players you should just go under and force them to make a three. If they shoot it at, let's say, 35% and they want to keep shooting that shot, eventually, to me, it's going to get in their head a little bit that they're being left to take that shot and no one else is being open. You're kind of limiting everybody else. I'm surprised coaches don't do that more, but guys are very good three-point shooters these days. I think this era has the best three-point shooters off the bounce than any era because it's by far the most practiced. And most guys that start in the NBA today at the guard position, point guard position, are able to hit that three to the point where teams go over. James Harden, though, being one of the best three-point shooters the game has ever seen, especially off the dribble, teams going underneath, I mean, I guess his shot might be a little slower than before, but I don't know. That's still not a great defensive strategy for me. I would definitely make James Harden go over and then try to hope, he doesn't have the same quickness as he once did so you can recover getting over that screen. And he's not elevating the same way at the rim if you have a big and drop or whatever it may be. But under the screen, it was there for him and he was taking it. And as I said, he shot 50% from three, but he hit two of those on teams going underneath the screen. But that was basically it for James Harden's night. So I saw some really good stuff there. As far as if it's a Zubac, since I'm kind of talking about the first half right now, I personally don't think we fed him enough. He had 4 shot attempts. I remember he had 1 missed left-hand jump hook in the post early in the game. I think it was like the first possession of the game. He had 2 points, 4 rebounds, and his only basket was on a pocket pass from James Harden in the pick and roll. He had that nice little floater, that Steven Adams was so good at for a while. And that's a shot that Zoo's gotten so much better at. Jokic is obviously incredible at it. So that's going to be there all season, especially when teams are in drop coverage and are going over screens with James Harden. James is one of the best pocket passers I've ever seen. Him and Chris Paul, we've been blessed to have them here with the Clippers. Both of them are so great at that particular pass. And Zoo getting better at finishing that shot, that's going to be probably 6 points a game for him right there. But for the most part, considering Zoo played 18 minutes, same amount as James, I did not like Zoo how little he got the ball in the post. And there were lineups with KPJ and Bones Highland in there. And I just thought, we're not really playing through Zoo enough for me. And if we're not going to do it without Kawhi and in preseason, that doesn't give me confidence that they're going to actually do it in the actual season. I said we need more Zoo post-ups in my Twitter thread. I made a little Twitter thread as I was watching the game because I haven't been live tweeting these games. But that's something that stuck out for me. So, I don't know. I'm not really confident on the Zoo post-up front. I think they're just all say that stuff, but then they go away from post-ups because this league loves face-up basketball now and doesn't like throwing it down to bigs. One jump hook. See, so all these perimeter players can take a bunch of threes and jack them up from anywhere and miss, but when one big man gets a post-up and misses a jump hook, we don't go to him for the rest of the game. That sickens me about the NBA today, and it's not going to be smart for the Clippers in the long run unless you want James Harden to burn out and watch Kevin Porter Jr. and Bones Highland pound the air out of the ball. And coming up, going to talk more about those guys, Kai Jones, some of the bench guys. And Kai Jones, He's making some of the people in the Locked On Clippers comment section look right. Going to be talking about him and the rest of the guys coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals on tickets last minute for an event, no matter what kind. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. And Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I am planning on using Game Time maybe for a Rams game this upcoming season. You never know, maybe for a Clipper game. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. That's available on Game Time, one of those great seating views. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry known as the Game Time Ticket Coverage. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. All right, let's talk about some of the bench players for the Clippers in this one and other guys that got run. Now, one of the things I loved from the beginning of the game, I talked about what my pick for the starting lineup was in the last episode. So if you haven't checked that one out, go check that out. Talking about what I literally wanted the Clippers starting lineup to be. Now, Derrick Jones Jr. and Terrence Mann were involved because we know that it's going to be Zoo, Harden, Kawhi starting. When Kawhi's healthy, of course. Terrence and Derrick give us the best defensive combinations that you can probably put out there and increase our athleticism a lot. And in this game, you could see some of their effect on the defensive end. Really long arms, super active. Derrick Jones had a clean pickpocket of Scoot Henderson early on in the game. And when we get steals, we can get out and run. And Terrence Mann and Derrick Jones Jr. are going to want to get out and run. And last year, it just felt like Russell Westbrook, Terrence Mann. These guys want to get out and run. Everybody else, not so much. Well, now having Derrick Jones, having KPJ, even a Chris Dunn, who's a good athlete, I think these guys are going to get out and run. And if Kai Jones is going to be in the rotation, we're going to want to get out and run a little bit. And I like what I saw from James Harden with some of those hit-ahead passes. That's what I forgot to mention. James Harden had like 2 or 3 outlet passes that directly led to points, even after made baskets, a la Magic Johnson. So you love to see that. And that's what I mentioned a couple episodes ago. If we're going to play a little bit faster, that's where James Harden can be useful with it, is those hit-ahead passes and outlets up the court. But when Kawhi's there, does that encourage Harden and the whole team to play at a slower pace to accommodate Kawhi? I don't know. Fact of the matter is, I'd rather take Kawhi in a slower pace than no Kawhi in a faster pace, because no Kawhi is going to be a worse team. Now, so I liked what I saw from Derrick Jones Jr. and Terrence, man. I think Terrence, I didn't realize what I just did there. Terrence had 4 points, 5 boards. So we've been talking about him trying to get a couple more rebounds a game this season. I know that's definitely something that's being discussed behind the scenes. 5 rebounds in one half about. I'm not sure if he played the second half. I think he did, but I could be wrong. I'm going to have to just double check that. He did play in the second half, but he only played 18 minutes. 5 rebounds in 18 minutes? I like to see that. He was 1 for 3 from the field, and all his shots were threes, 1 for 2 from the foul line. So that 3 ball, again, that's going to be the biggest thing for Terrence to keep him on the floor and give him maximum minutes, is if he can he hasn't hesitated much, which I like, but he's still got to knock it down. Because that's where, when you start missing shots, that's when it's going to start getting in his head. That's when he's going to start thinking about it more. And we saw that happen in real time last season. We don't, especially without Kawhi, we do not have the breathing room for Terrence to go through a slump like that. And he's going to go to the bench, and the team just paid him $47 million for the next 3 years. So, Terrence Mann, if anybody that knows Terrence Mann's listening to this, that's my guy. My favorite player on the team. I'm one of his biggest fans out there. I'm just saying, it's going to happen. It's going to make the Clippers look bad. If he starts going through that slump, he's going to get taken out of that starting lineup. But I'm rooting for him to start the whole way through. Derrick Jones Jr., he got to the line 10 times. He played 21 minutes. How about that? One of your role players that isn't even a shot creator getting to the line 10 times. 16 points for Derrick Jones Jr. He was our leading scorer. You love to see that. 4 for 8 from the field, getting out and running off of turnovers. 8 for 10 from the foul line. Shot 1 3. He missed it. He had a steal and no turnovers. And the Clippers, they kept the turnover count to a lower number this time. 7, 8, 9, 10 turnovers as a team, as opposed to, I believe, 20 against the Warriors. So, I think it was against the Warriors. It might have been against the Nets, but we had 20 turnovers in a game in the preseason so far. So, 10, I'll take that all day. But how about Kai Jones? This guy has done enough for me to say, Clippers, get him that two-way contract right now. Maybe some of you in the comments begging for him were right. You know, he might not be the most polished basketball player in the world, but he's a freak athlete. And we've really, really lacked athleticism the last couple of years. We've lacked a vertical threat. We've lacked a big that just wants to sprint up the floor. A lot of people have wanted to stretch big, and he's not that. But he can block some shots, which he was doing in this game, and he can dunk that ball. And he ended the game with an alley-oop dunk. And I don't know if that was the play for Jordan Miller to back cut on that one and know that it was going to be there like that because there was no screen or anything. But Jordan Miller did a great job back cutting and then got Kai Jones that lob to win the game 101-99 for the Clips. It's funny that I don't lead with the episode with what the score was because it's so meaningless in the preseason. It really just matters the process, but it was 101-99 Clippers. Kai Jones, how about this for a stat line? 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 4 for 8 shooting, but wait for it, 2 steals and 5 blocks. 5 blocks in 29 minutes. And it's not like all those guys were G League guys out there for Portland. I know they're going to be the worst team in the West, but some of these guys are NBA players. Remember, Kai Jones was drafted in the first round by the Knicks, 19th in 2021. This is a first-round pick. He's got some potential. So if I'm the Clippers, no hesitation. People in the comments, you might have been right. I don't know if he's a backup center on a playoff team, though I really don't. But he might be better than Mo Bamba. At this point, though, I'm telling you, Mo Bamba is living off Sheck West's song at this point. I'm rooting for the guy. But Kai Jones, there's no reason why he can't. I mean, right now, especially with Mo Bamba, I hope he gets well soon. And he does give us a stretch big. But there's nothing that I've seen from Mo Bamba in the NBA. And he did play for the Lakers for a bit. For me to say that he's a good player. B-Ball Paul was getting more minutes than him last year, replacing Joel Embiid. So, and by the way, I might sound harsh there. I'm being nice compared to what people are saying on the internet. People are saying that, Mo Bamba's terrible. He's not even an NBA player. I'm giving him a chance. I've seen him hit some pick and pop threes, and he does have great size. But my point was this. He might have to earn that spot if Kai Jones is going to keep playing this way. And this is not Summer League. This is preseason. So right now, Kai Jones is going to be our backup center on opening night against the Phoenix Suns if Mo Bamba's not there, ready. And here's my thing. Even if Mo Bamba's ready, I think he might need some more reps than opening night. Kai Jones is going to be fresh, and he has a lot of confidence right now. So, and you know what Phoenix doesn't have? They don't have a vertical threat. They have Yusuf Nurkic and Mason Plumlee. Oh, our good old friend Mason. No hard feelings, brother, but I think he's washed. We all know he is. Daniel Tice got skimped last year. In terms of minutes in that playoff series against Dallas and when Mason Plumlee came back. Since Mason Plumlee's been back, he's not been the same. He cannot protect the rim. He already couldn't protect the rim, but now he really can't. He's not moving well anywhere. He just is a solid finisher around the rim and can complete some alley-oops. Defensively, he's a complete liability, and sometimes he thinks he's Magic Plumlee, not Mason Plumlee, and will bring up the ball and turn the ball over and do some wild stuff. So, yeah, I'm not really that worried about Mason Plumlee and Yusuf Nurkic on opening night. My thing is, are we going to have enough offense to counter that of Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, and now Tyus Jones? I mean, that's going to be tough. I really don't like Phoenix, guys. I hope you feel the same way I do. But Kai Jones, I mean, that guy is better than I thought, honestly. So that's my takeaway. Kai Jones, backup center. Sign him to that two-way contract right now. Right now, Lawrence. Sign him to that two-way. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he gets an actual deal, but that means someone's probably gonna have to get the boot, and I'm not here to talk about that unless we make a trade. Who else is there to talk about? Let's talk about Bones Highland. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about two duos in the next segment. Bones Highland and Kevin Porter Jr. A little bit more about Terrence and Derrick Jones. Actually, three duos. And then a little bit of Kobe Brown and Jordan Miller. Going to be talking about those three duos coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And right now, there are odds for the NBA ready to go. As far as the Pacific Division, they have the Clippers in dead last at plus 1,200, which is hilarious. I would actually, why not throw some money on that? Because if Kawhi is healthy, I think we could easily be better than some of these bozo teams that I don't think are that good. Luka Doncic is the favorite to win MVP right now. Jokic right behind him. I don't think you could go wrong with either of them. SGA third, a former Clipper, and I think he's got a really good chance just given that the Thunder are most likely going to get the 1 seed, which sucks for us for the picks, but whatever. Where you go do that, that's FanDuel.com. All right. So these three duos, I know if you're watching on the YouTube side, you see it says that duo, but you know what? I just wanted to choose which one to go with, and since I haven't talked about them, I'm going to talk about them now. I already touched on Derrick Jones Jr. and Terrence Mann, but I'm just going to say this, my last word on them. By the way, Norman Powell didn't play this game with a sore back. He should be okay. I hope he's there for opening night. I say opening night, but like the first basketball game at Intuit Dome on Monday, which I will be at. It's going to be special. If you want to see what it's like, Dime Dropper channel, you already know, but of course I'm going to talk about it here. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I am so excited. First game at Intuit Dome. I know it's not the first real game, but preseason. If you see me at the game, holler at me. Guys, please do not hesitate to holler at me at these games. If you watch the show, if you listen, don't feel bad that you're interrupting something. Like, who am I? Like, just come up and say hi. I'm a fan, just like you. So it's really appreciated. It makes my day. Anyway, Derrick Jones Jr. and Terrence Mann, I think they are proving to me further that I want them to start together because the defensive look was so good, and we're going to get Kawhi Leonard back eventually, and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, and if we actually use Ivica Zubac like he's a good offensive basketball player, which we should, the offense might not be that bad. Derrick Jones Jr. and Terrence Mann, the thing is this, if they both are shooting poorly from three on the same night, it's going to stick out and be awful, but maybe if one's not having a great night and the other one is, it could be enough to get by because defensively we're hopefully getting so many stops and forcing so many turnovers that we can get out and run, and then Derrick and Terrence Mann can do what they want to do. And let me just say, you open up that runway for Derrick Jones Jr. at Intuit Dome, he might make that roof cave in because we haven't had someone that can dunk like that since Blake Griffin and DJ, and we have sorely lacked someone to make really exciting plays. I mean, Paul George had his beautiful, aesthetically pleasing plays that give you the oohs and ahs, but nothing excites an NBA crowd like a good old-fashioned slam dunk. And Derrick Jones Jr., this is a former dunk contest champ, one of the highest flyers in the league. We're not far from LAX, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he's going to be in the mood, and he keeps talking about it. He keeps talking about how he's, airplane mode once I get some dunks down at the Intuit Dome. He's already spoken it into existence. So it's just a matter of what kind of dunk we get in that opening night. And if we don't get a Derrick Jones Jr. opening dunk on opening night, I'm going to be disappointed. That's on us to create turnovers. Now, so my takeaway from that duo is that I still believe that they should be starting. Second one, Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown. I thought Kobe Brown was solid. I've spoken about that. I think he's a good rebounder, but still the three ball, 0 for 2 in this game, 2 for 2 from 2, so 2 for 4 overall, 5 points, 6 rebounds. He really does a great job of rebounding when he comes in his little minutes. This one, 19 minutes, but his three ball doesn't impress. It's not impressive enough to me that he should be getting rotation minutes on a team that has aspirations to actually be a play-in team. If he was on a rebuilding team, I think he should absolutely get minutes off the bench, but I just think we have better options. And he'll eat in the G League. I hope so. And definitely don't trade him or anything, but I don't think he's ready yet to get rotation minutes. I think a guy that might be, though, is Jordan Miller. second in MVP voting in Summer League. This guy, he knows how to get to the line. He has this amazing ability to decelerate and slow down when he's in the paint already. And when you're in the paint, especially at the NBA level, you're seeing bodies in a split second and some big ones. And the way he just is so calm and savvy enough with his body to generate the contact and not get sped up and still finish through that contact is very impressive to me. And we saw that a ton in Summer League. And he's also got a decent shot as well. I mean, in this game, he was 1 for 4 from 3, but 6 for 12 overall. So he was our leading shot taker. 6 for 12 overall and 2 for 4 from the foul line. He finished with 15 points, 6 boards. So he also gets rebounds too. 6 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, just 1 turnover in 28 minutes of play. Now let me ask the audience this. How much better is Amir Coffey than him? Of course, Jordan Miller's playing against worse competition. Like Amir Coffey's getting minutes against more of the regular players. By the way, Amir started in this game. He was okay. 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 2 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3 in 21 minutes. So not too much to write home about. I just think Jordan Miller might be as good as him. He might be better. Who knows? But it's not. I don't think it's that far off. I'm going to just say this. If one of Terrence Mann or Amir Coffey goes down, Jordan Miller should be getting minutes. I know he's on a 2-way, but I almost wish Kobe Brown was on that 2-way and Jordan Miller was on a standard contract because he's a pretty solid ball player, Clipper Nation. He's pretty good. When you see someone that's consistently producing, it's a good sign. Let's also talk about 2 of the guys that have constantly compared to each other, and Kevin Porter Jr. fans, I guess, or people that are high on his game are offended when I compare Bones Highland to him, but I just mean as 2 guys that are just going to come in and try to create offense and get buckets. That's exactly what they are. They're both extreme ball pounders to me that do a lot of dancing, a lot of tween at the top of the key, and sometimes it goes places, sometimes it goes nowhere. I think Kevin Porter Jr. has a better bag because he's so much bigger, and so he can get his shot off a little better. He seems a little more decisive with his moves. And defensively, I've actually been pretty impressed with KPJ so far in preseason. He's been pretty attentive and trying, and he's using his arms to help him fighting over screens and just in general having active hands. So Bones is just, he looks really skinny out there. You know what I mean? A little small and skinny out there. And he does have long arms too, but KPJ just looks a lot bigger. And it looks like Bones sometimes struggles to get paint touches, partially because of his frame, but also because he tends to settle for threes and sometimes just spend a lot of time dancing. And in this game, he made 3 catch-and-shoot threes. But for reference, he was I said Jordan Miller was our leading shot taker, and I was wrong. Bones Highland was 4 for 15. 3 for 11 from 3, and made all 3 of his free throws. So he had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And I'll say this about Bones. He's a very streaky shooter. So some games he'll just be scorching hot, and we've seen that happen. But because of his hot and coldness, plus his defense isn't great, and his size is, he's a smaller guard, and the ball pounding when he is missing, it can be tough. Like, he can be very much a net negative. So right now, if you're the Clippers, Kevin Porter Jr. just seems like that better candidate to come off that bench. And that sucks. I mean, when we signed Kevin Porter Jr., the first thing I thought was, okay, that's it for Bones. Because I really like Bones. And I think a lot of Clipper fans have wanted him to get that run. And if he could ever be a little bit more consistent, a little more decisive with his moves, and a little more efficient, he could be a backup Energizer Bunny. But he also needs opportunity. And I'm not going to write him off over some preseason games. I think that's completely unfair. But it's not looking great, in my opinion, in terms of him versus KPJ, and I don't see both of them getting in the rotation when everyone's healthy consistently. As far as KPJ, he didn't shoot very well either. 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 turnover on 3 for 10 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and no free throw attempts. So, wasn't great there either. Nico Batum played just 8 minutes. He had 2 points on 1 shot, made it, had 3 boards. And then someone I wanted to give a shout out to was Alondes Williams. I thought he did a good job playmaking, getting in the lane, making plays quickly, a little more decisive than Bones. And it's partially because of his frame. He's a little bigger, can keep defenders in jail easier coming off screens. He had 4 points and 5 assists in 13 minutes. So that was pretty good. And 2 rebounds too. So Alondes Williams. Hopefully he'll do some good work for the San Diego Clippers. Might be fighting for that last 2-way, but Kai Jones. Got to have him signed up. And that was about it. We got some minutes from Cam Christie. He had a nice steal and block, so that was nice to see. 4 points for him, 1 for 2 from the field, and his only missed 3 was a really bad miss, but good to see Cam Christie getting some burn. And that was it. So my player of the game was Harden overall. I thought he was really impressive. Derrick Jones Jr. also could be considered that. But yeah, 101 to 99. The next episode I make is going to be a big-time preview of, like, essentially Christmas Eve, but Intuit Dome Eve. What I'm looking forward most to most at Intuit Dome. First night. What should we expect? What should we be looking for? Honestly, what's happening on the court, that's going to be like maybe 20% of what we should be looking at. I mean, this is going to be a crazy first-time experience of a place we're going to get to know the rest of our lives. It's history, ladies and gentlemen. It's Clipper history. And where can you find all the information and content on this? Right here, Locked On Clippers and Dime Jumper. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and of course, subscribe to the YouTube side. And Locked On Clippers is wherever you get your Clipper news. Something happens, we talk about it right here. No one's more consistent than us here at Locked On. 5 days a week, whatever team you like, we've got it. And if you're a Clipper fan, right here with your boy. Hope to see you guys on Monday, but I'll have an episode before then for Monday. And yeah, make sure you comment. Let me know what you thought of the preseason game. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.